Hey, welcome back. It is our final daily hope about the true story of Job. He suffered greatly, but we're told at the very end in verse 12, so the Lord blessed Job in the second half of his life, even more than in the beginning. He now had 14,000 sheep, where before he had 7,000. 6,000 camels, where he had 3,000. 1,000 teams of oxen, where he had 500, etc. And then I love this, verse 16, Job lived 140 years after that, living to see 4 generations of his children and grandchildren, so like 2 more lifetimes pretty much. Then he died, an old man who had lived a long, full life. That's an understatement, right? So, there were 3 questions here in the Life Application Study Bible for you and your suffering. Here's the next one. Am I specifically tested like Job is? That's a possibility. We don't necessarily know the answer to these questions, but this study note gives us a here's how to respond. If you feel like maybe you've been singled out in the heavenly realm like Job was, well then do this. Accept help from the body of believers. Trust God to accomplish his purposes through you. I remember when I first had neurological issues years ago, it was stroke-like episodes, and my book, I Am Strong, we'll put a link at the end of this, came out of that. But I remember laying in a hospital bed and just surrendering, you know what, God? My whole life is just to serve you. So you're not going to let anything happen to me that won't allow me to serve you. And if you're allowing this, I'm going to trust you, and I'm just going to keep serving you through it. Here's another question. Is your suffering a result of natural consequences for which you're not directly responsible? Here's a good example. If a drunk driver were to crash into your vehicle and you were driving with a loved one and your loved one was killed, but you survived, that would be this. The result of natural consequences in a broken world for which you're not responsible. When that's the case, here's how to respond. Recognize that in a sinful world, both good and evil people suffer. But the good person has a promise from God that his or her suffering will one day come to an end. Your suffering will someday come to an end. Final question. Is your suffering due to some unknown reason? Right? There were 6 of these total questions, 5 potential scenarios, and the 6th one is kind of the catch-all. Maybe it's not the natural world, it's not satanic, you haven't been singled out, you have no idea why. Well, then here's how you respond. Don't turn inward from pain. The most important choice you make in your pain is, do you turn to God with your pain, or do you turn away from God because of your pain? Always turn to God with your pain. Proclaim your faith in God. Know that God cares, and wait patiently for his help. Help is on the way through Jesus. I'll see you tomorrow for more Daily Hope.